Good evening. It's Thursday, March 27th, 2025. The main theme that I'm getting this evening has to do with reflection. The act of reflection, the art of reflection, and the sheer power of reflection. The power of today has much more to do with reflection than projection. We've seen enough of projection. By this point, we all know what projection is. But the message that I'm getting this evening is reminding me of the importance, this dire need for us to put into practice the art of reflection. Keyword on art. Art is so important because it provides a medium for you to channel your emotions. Whatever medium you use, whether it's paper or film, food, any type of music, whether it be piano or drums or guitar, trumpet, your voice, whatever medium you choose, it's called a medium because it really does stand in the middle. It mediates between your emotion and your intuition. It's a mediator, and it helps you to be able to reconcile any differences that you might have between the two, any conflicts you might have between your intuition and your emotions. That cognitive dissonance can be channeled through that medium. Whatever one you resonate with the most, whether you are more visual or more audio, whether you're more creative or more logical. Someone who's more logical might gravitate more towards numbers or something more analytical. For myself, I like both logic and creativity. So I see a lot of beauty in a spreadsheet even, or a database. For those who understand database languages, you'll understand the concept of a cube. And today is March 27th, 2025. So right off the bat, you'll notice 3 for March, and then 27, which is 3 times 9, which is also 3 cubed. 3 times 3 times 3. That's very important here. We could sum 2025 straight down to 9, or we could break it into 2 double-digit numbers, 20 plus 25, and that gives us 45. And 45 is 3 times 15. We could also factor down 15, and that would be 3 times 5. So there are a lot of 3s here. The power of 3 is emphasis. 3 is an inherently spiritual number. We think of things like body, mind, and spirit, energy, frequency, and vibration, food, clothing, and shelter. I'm also thinking of left, right, and center, up, down, and somewhere in between. 3 is also an inherently creative number. 3 is the sum of 1 and 2. 1 being the more active number and 2 being a more passive number. If we were to attribute gender to both of those numbers, 1 would be masculine and 2 would be feminine. So in order to have creation, or in order to reproduce, you need the masculine and the feminine to come together. So that 1 plus 2 equals 3. So it's the number of creation. The qualities of 1 and 2 reconciling also equals original thought. thinking outside of the box. 3 is a number that makes me think more of triangles and circles than squares. And the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, those numbers make me think more of irregular type polygons and circles. Since the beginning of this month, we talked about what the main theme of this month of March was going to be about. This month of this year is crucial that we release those creations that we've been preparing for all of our lives. We've been cultivating. There were gifts that were revealed to us, especially over the course of last year. We experienced an acceleration. From April to December, it just continued to accelerate until now that we've gotten to March of 2025. We have reached pretty close to a breaking point. What we've been preparing for, creating, it can't be held back anymore because the old ways are not working anymore. In fact, the old ways are destroying our world and they are completely unsustainable. That is why there is so much resistance right now between the creators and the destroyers. This whole month is about creation. That's why the number for March is 3. It's about creation. It's the beginning of the spring. And spring is all about renewal, rejuvenation, and creation. Everything's waking up again. And in this case, in 2025, we are all waking up into a new era, a whole new paradigm, a conscious era. And in order for us to move into this new higher frequency conscious era, it was going to take a lot of momentum. So more energy had to have been infused in from the sun. Over this past week, if you've been watching the news or looking at space weather, you'll notice that there's a huge coronal hole in the sun right now. This coronal hole is huge on the sun. When a coronal hole opens on the sun, the solar wind comes blasting out of it. And in this case, the coronal hole is directly facing Earth. So this extremely fast-moving solar wind is bombarding Earth right now. It made contact with Earth about 2 days ago, and we felt it. Things really accelerated, just went crazy around that time. It's like the Earth just lit up. And also the days preceding the coronal hole, positioning itself directly facing Earth. The tensions on our planet right now are burning hot. This is what was needed to catalyze all of this big change. I'm seeing 327. The number 27, it speaks about upheaval. We talked about last year around November, December, that when this started to happen, it would be like God was going to pull the carpet from underneath everything, and there would be a shaking, a lifting of the floor. And then after all the shaking was done, then God would replace it with a new floor that was higher up and put new carpet down. And that's when the work would begin. New systems would be installed all over the earth that are based on a higher frequency, Christ consciousness. It centers around love and authenticity, gratitude, where everyone would feel a sense of responsibility toward one another. This system would not be centered around a proliferation of rules, but it would be centered around mercy and kindness and fairness. It would be based on a golden rule that Jesus talked about, where people would do unto each other what they would have done to them. So I'm seeing the number 3 repeated over and over again in today's numbers. And since this morning, I've been getting a sense of the last 3 days of the month. I'm seeing 43. 43. So I'm intuitively seeing 43 here, and 43 tells me completing a foundation that will give you something level to build upon or create upon. The number of creation is 3, but the number of stability, building momentum, and foundations is 4. So when I see 43, I'm thinking of that number of building foundations and momentum times the number of mastery, which is 10. So 4 times 10. So the number 43, it emphasizes the importance of building these structures and foundations, but for the purpose of having a level surface or foundation to create upon. That 3 number, as opposed to 34. I'm seeing 43. What I'm hearing is 34 is more top heavy because it's focused more on optimism, like looking up at something, looking up at an ideal and feeling hopeful about something, like the energy of looking up at the stars or looking at an ideal example of something that you'd like to achieve and feeling optimistic about achieving it. The number 43 already includes the number 34, but the number 43 is 34 plus 9, that number of appreciation. So it already takes into account that you appreciate the value of optimism and faith. So much so that you back that faith up with actions and you actually start building. And you keep building until you have that solid foundation, a structure, creating a foundation or a safe place to create. The next 3 days are going to move. I'm seeing a roller coaster going off the rails is what I'm seeing here. A roller coaster going off the rails. It's going to be fast, just one thing after another. And it's so important that what I'm hearing is move out of the way. Move out of the way, focus on what you're doing. Mind your own business, work with your hands. Stay out of other people's business, work with your hands. Focus on what you have in front of you. Focus on the task at hand. You're going to be able to see what's going on around you. You won't be able to miss it. It's going to be one event after another, several events happening at the same time. It's going to be a challenge to stay focused on what you have to build. But we are almost in the month of April. And the month of April, we're going to need to be putting structure to these creations here. I'm seeing something about there are going to be people that are interested. People are not just going to be interested in whatever it is that you have to bring, that you came here to create. People are going to be looking for something. Some of these people that are looking for exactly what you have made, what you are creating, they might not even know about you yet. And if you're not finished, if you're not ready, you need to be ready. The destroyers know about this. The destroyers know. They've already chosen their positions, and there's not enough time. We literally have 3 or 4 days before the month of March is over. I'm seeing something about going down a waterfall. I keep seeing things like going off the rails, going down a waterfall, whatever it is. It looks like falling off a cliff, or someone who's so committed to causing someone who's trying to make progress problems that they don't even see the cliff right in front of them. And the point that they're missing is that these creators are not relying on the strength of the branch underneath them. These creators, they have gained the ability to use their wings. But the destroyers who are chasing them, they must rely on the ground underneath them. But the ground's about to open up. The ground is not reliable at this time. The ground itself is about to, without warning, betray the destroyers. The ground is already beginning to betray the destroyers. It is of paramount importance to stay in your frequency of love and gratitude and authenticity, appreciation for the entire collective, and let that love for the collective, for humanity, that love will motivate you to do the best that you can. You're going to focus on service. I heard this said many times before. When you get nervous, focus on service. When you get writer's block, when you get a creative block, it's because you're focused too much on yourself. Focus on service. Focus on how you can be of service, how you can help the collective the best. So back to reflections. Reflections. I'm being shown that art, even I'm seeing a piece of art in a picture frame as if it's a mirror. The art itself is the mirror. When you look at the art, you see what you need to see when you look at the art. Even if that art was created by someone else, you see what resonates with you. It is the mirror. When you look in that art, it helps you to understand in that art, in that picture, in that music, in that food, whatever that creation was that was designed by an artist. When you experience that art, you will immediately know what it is that no longer serves you. And you'll also know what you appreciate about it. You'll automatically know what you need to give up in order to create the life that's going to satisfy you more. Looking at that art or experiencing that art, it gives you a moment to really reflect on what it is you desire instead of what do you fear. You are faced with a choice when you look at that art, when you experience that art, and whatever medium the artist used for that art. When you look at that art, it is going to give you an opportunity to reflect. And when you look at that art, you will make a choice, either a conscious choice or an unconscious choice, to focus in on what you desire and what is depicted in that painting, or what it is that you fear. And that piece of art is going to make it very clear to you how you feel about what you are being shown and what it actually means for you. And you will experience that art and you will walk away changed. Very similar to someone who looks in the mirror and gets a really clear picture of how they look. And they get a chance to decide how they want to carry themselves moving forward. It's about reflection. 3 days. It's going to move very quickly. The number 27 tells me upheaval. And the 3 for March, and then the 27. And also 27 is 3 times 9. So not only is it 3 times the upheaval, so it's going to be something very huge is about to happen. When you consider that we are in 2025, 20 plus 25 gives you 45, which is about like a whole era that we have been in for the past 9 years, 10 years here. It's about to change. Everything is about to change. The events that will occur over the next 3 days are going to start a domino effect for the next 3 months. June, April, May, June. It's so important that you focus right now because the world is ready. The world is ready now for what you have to bring. And that is why the destroyers are trying so hard. These next 3 days are crucial in their mind. But these next 3 days should also be very crucial for you.